Hello my stitchy friends! Let's start stitching this gorgeous sampler page with flowers. If you are new here, my name is Natalie and I continue working on my biggest project, Sampler Guidebook. It's a soft book I'm making completely from fabric, where each page is a stitch sampler for one stitch or a group of stitches. I designed it for complete beginners, so with each sampler page, you can learn more and more popular embroidery stitches and grow your skills from beginner to advanced level. Every page of this book will serve as a living example of the stitches you have learned. You can refer to those pages when you are going to be planning your own embroidery designs. Just imagine how pleasant it will be to flip through these pages. You will definitely be proud of your results. Check out the video description below for more information about how to get access to those samplers. Okay, let's get back to our current sampler page with volumetric flowers. Today I will show you how to embroider this cute floral border. I used just two simple stitches you already know, stem stitch and lazy daisy stitch. We practiced them in my previous tutorials. All you need is two skeins of variegated threads and some beads. In my stash, I found those amazing colorful threads by Cosmo Seasons. If you don't have such threads, it's okay. Just use what you have in your stash. I will start with green threads. I take two strands and I choose the part of the threads which goes from light shade to dark green and back to the light shade of green. I made a little knot on the back side to start the threads, and I'm stitching the stems using the stem stitch. In the places where the line is too curled, I use just back stitch and then I switch to the stem stitch. We were practicing this stitch for the first sampler page for outline stitches, but in case you forgot, I can remind you how to do it. Bring your needle up through the fabric just above the marked line of your pattern. Insert the needle one stitch length away from it. Come back up halfway and repeat this process, keeping your thread loop on one side during your stitching. From time to time I stop and make a little stitch for the flowers where it's needed. I skip all the leaves for now because I'm going to stitch them later using the same threads but with 4 strands. If your pattern lines are curved like mine, it's better to keep your loop outside the curve. And when this curve changed, you can switch and keep your loop on another side. This way you will get a nice smooth border. Now let's finish with the green part and stitch the leaves. I will use 4 strands of floss from the same skein, and I will be making tiny leaves using lazy daisy stitch. Lazy daisy stitch is perfect for creating little flowers and tiny leaves. You should know how to do it because we already stitched an entire sampler page dedicated to lazy daisy stitch. But I can remind you again. Pull the needle up through to the front and insert it again right next to the place you pull out. You can even go through the same hole you just came up. Make a loop and keep it with your non-working hand. Come out again in the other place holding the thread under the needle as you pull tight. Insert the needle outside the loop and move on to the next leaves. And now it's time to stitch the flowers. I decided to play with those multicolored threads. They are so colorful and bright. Usually I'm afraid to use such threads. They look pretty, but I don't know how they will look when it's stitched. So this time I thought, it's okay if it does not work, I will try it, and then I will decide if I keep it or not. I used 3 strands of floss, and for each flower I made 3 lazy daisy stitches. And actually, I like how it turned out. The colors are changing fast in this skein, and each flower is different. It was fun to see how my flowers turned out. I consider this experiment successful. In this place, the distance between the flowers is more than ½ inch. I don't like to make long stitches on the backside, so here is what we can do with it. I suggest sliding under the existing stitches and whipping a few times in order to avoid making one long jump here. You can end and start your thread if you want. Feel free to do what is best for you. It's just a suggestion, so your backside will look neat and clean. I like to embellish my embroidery projects with seed beads because they are sparkling and can add some charm and texture. I use irregular yellow beads that I had in my stash, but you can go with French knots if you like. And I use the smallest size of the needle for my set right now, number 9, and the bead size is 2 millimeters. You often ask me different questions regarding my beading process, so I wrote an article and I answered most of them. What size of beads to use? How to measure them? Will I need a special needle? Should I use embroidery thread or do I need some special thread for that? Check out my video description and comments below and you will find the link to this article to learn more. And maybe subscribe for more articles like this and explore an entire archive of other useful articles I already have for you in my blog. It's free. I also left links to my favorite materials and tools that I use in my work. Nice fabric, suitable for hand embroidery, the best brands of embroidery threads, embroidery needles, good quality hoop stands, and more. And one more thing left to do for today is to embroider the letters. I have a separate video about this where I stitch slow and talk about this process in details. It was one of my first videos for this project. I will leave the link in the video description below. Basically, I stitch all the letters for my samplers using black floss, and I use 2 strands for the top header and just 1 strand for all the smaller headings with the names of stitches. I like to do whipped back stitch, and I think split stitch is also a good one for such letters. Whipped back stitch is a simple stitch. You just do back stitch first and then you whip it. If you don't want to stitch letters at all, it's fine, it's not necessary. You can use some black permanent liner and draw the letters so they stay after washing. Just make sure you tested your liner before trying on a real project. You can also use some fabric markers if you can find a perfect one in your local stores. They usually become permanent after ironing. That's it for today's video. I hope you liked this tutorial and it was useful for you. You can also use this floral border to decorate your photos or embellish some other embroidery projects. And if you want to stitch this sampler with me, join my stitching club. In my next video, I will be showing different ways how to make woven roses. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out my upcoming embroidery videos. If you enjoy watching this, please watch those videos I chose for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy stitching!